It starts tonight, game one. And the Celtics, huge midseason turnaround to make it. Since the NBA went to 82 games in 67, they're the fourth team to reach the finals despite having a losing record at the halfway point in the season. And then you got Golden State in the finals for the sixth time in 8 years. Only three other franchises have ever accomplished that feat, the Celtics and the Lakers many times. And the Jordan Bulls, of course, of the 90s. And one big matchup will be how Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart defends Steph Curry. Historically, Curry shoots just 29% with Smart as the closest defender. Only three defenders have held Curry to a worse shooting percentage. And then there's this. One big discrepancy in this series has been handicapping who's going to win. Caesars has the Warriors installed as the favorites, but our BPI gives the Celtics an overwhelming 86% chance to win the series. Now, keep this in mind. The metric has favored the Celtics all postseason as they have them rated as the best team in the league. So let's talk about the moment we've all been waiting for. Vince Carter back with us, JJ Redick right here. And JJ, let's talk about this key matchup, Curry versus Marcus Smart. What concerns do you have with Curry matching up against Smart?
Well, his history has shown that Marcus Smart has done a really good job defending Steph Curry. The numbers back that up. And if you look at the Steve Kerr era with the Warriors versus the Celtics have had a lot of success. And some of that early success was also because of Avery Bradley guarding Steph Curry, who's obviously not there. We brought this up a number of times this week. The switching frequency of the Celtics. They were first in the league in the regular season, second in the playoffs. It's not going to just be Marcus Smart guarding Steph Curry. With all that off-ball movement, there will be guys switching on to him, and how he handles those matchups will be important as well.
And you mentioned it right there, especially the off-ball movement with Curry. You got to watch him at all times. There's going to be a lot of switching. Vince, how do you see this playing out?
I mean, it's echoing what JJ said. I for sure see a lot of switching because of how Golden State plays. They play the pick and roll. They use the pick and roll. They utilize it at a high volume and efficiency, and they love to run. I'm about to say JJ. What's up, JJ? They love
Vince,
to run step
up,
off of a lot of screens, a lot of movement. So, so they love to run them off of screens. So look for switching and look for Golden State to purposely do so to get, if you would, a lesser defender on him if Marcus Smart is getting the better of Steph Curry.
Okay, so we see how that works. And then, JJ, so I guess the question that Celtics fans are wondering right now is, can Marcus Smart just flat out shut Curry down? Can that happen? And I know you say there's going to be the switching and it's a team concept. I get that. But if it's his primary responsibility, will he shut him down?
Well, look, it's interesting to think about the different ways that the Warriors use Steph Curry. Obviously, with the off-ball movement, the cutting, the screening, they use him in direct pick and roll as well. So a thing to watch as this series progresses is how much they're switching those pick and rolls. Al Horford has been phenomenal as the switching defender throughout the year. Of the guys big guys who have guarded over 500 possessions, he leads the league in points per possessions allowed. Like, he's really good at that. I don't think there's a ton of guys on this Celtics team that you can target the same way that they targeted players in that Nuggets series, the same way that they targeted players in the Western Conference Finals against the Mavs. The Celtics, 1 through 6 or 7, have really a team full of solid defenders.
Wow, and you look at this, again, the shooting percentage that he's got against Smart. I know you say it's going to be about more than that in the switching, but I look at this and I say this is going to be a key matchup for people to watch. So game one is tonight. Let's go through some of these prop bets if we can. Over or unders. Okay, so JJ, over or under Marcus Smart 1.5 steals.
I'm just going to take the under on all of these. I actually expect this to be a grinded out game. You're talking about the two best defenses in the league. Not just the Celtics defense, but the Warriors defense. I'm taking the under on all this. Look, I think Marcus Smart is active. He's going to get deflections. I'll take the under on the steals.
Okay, so Vince, over or under Jaylen Brown 2.5 threes made.
I'm going to say over. I'm going to go, and the reason I say over is because of the attention that Jason Tatum is going to demand and get in this series, where Jaylen Brown is imperative. If he's shooting the ball and aggressive and making shots, this is very gettable.
Okay, so JJ, last one. Jason Tatum, over under 28.5 points.
I'm going to take the under on this as well. I think he gets close to it. I think he's around that number. I think he ends up having a 26, 27-point night, but I'm taking the under.
Okay, around that number. So I wonder if that's a successful night for him. So then, let me ask you this, because we were talking about it all morning when you talk about Jason Tatum. phenomenal player, right? Phenomenal player. But no one can get out of their head Game 7 when Marcus Smart was taking 5 straight late game shots at the very end with the series on the line. And it got us all thinking, do the Celtics need to see more from Tatum late in games? Because that's what we expect out of our superstars. At the end of the day, when things are on the line, the superstar is going to say, give me the ball.
Well, look, over the course of these playoffs, he's second in the NBA in total points, and his shooting splits are 54% from the field, 48% from three. That's in the fourth quarter. Through the first 2 rounds, he was great in the last 3 minutes. And during that Heat series, I think he was 1 for 5 in the last 3 minutes. So, again, in the aggregate, he's been pretty darn good in the fourth quarter and in late games in this postseason. There were some struggles in the regular season. So the Celtics struggled as a clutch time team, 13 and 22 in clutch games this year.
How big of a problem is it if he struggles clutch time?
It's a huge problem.
Okay.
It's a huge problem. He is their primary creator at the end of games. Jaylen Brown obviously can handle that as well, but it's got to be one of those 2 guys late game.
Okay, Vince, go ahead.
And JJ, real fast. And if he's turning the ball over, they're in trouble as well. I mean, because you're now putting the Golden State in situations where they're in transition, getting all the 3-point shots or easy layups that they want. You look for Golden State to try to shrink the floor. I mean, you're going to see both teams try to shrink the floor to really narrow the gaps. And for Jason Tatum, it's attack mode mentality for him, because when he's in attack mode and making the right decision, it doesn't always mean shoot the ball. It just means attack to draw the defense and find your guys and create easier shots for his team. That's when I think he's at his best. And sometimes the numbers won't show that he's being aggressive because of, like you said, shot attempts sometimes. But if he's getting in the paint, getting guys wide open shots who are capable shooters and can make shots, that is a win for Boston as well.
Vince, I think you bring up a great point here, and that's turnovers. I think that's one of the keys to the series for both these teams. You're talking about, again, the 2 best defenses in the league. Both these defenses can weather off shooting nights. We saw that in the Heat series in Game 4 when Boston didn't shoot well but only turned the ball over 9 times. If these teams turn the ball over, and the Warriors as well can get careless with the ball, and we saw in that Heat series, Jaylen Brown and Tatum have high turnover games, like that's where you lose the basketball game. They just need to get good shots and be patient. They can withstand off shooting nights because that defense is so good, both these teams.
And guys, let me just ask this question. And Vince, I'll ask this of you. I still find it interesting. Can we pop up that graphic again, comparing Smart to Tatum late in games and who's taking the shots? Because this is critical when you think about it. I think that when fans are looking at these matchups, and look at that, Smart taking more than Tatum in the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter this postseason. I think when fans think about superstars, they think they're demanding the ball at the end of the game. I know the Celtics are a team that's very deep, but still, Smart taking all these shots leads me to believe that at the end, they're deferring to him a little bit. Now, that might be wrong, but give me your sense of what you think about that and whether or not that will fly against the Golden State Warriors in the finals.
Well, Ryan, understand, superstars want the ball in their hands to make the play that is available, or the best play. And then some superstars want the ball in hand, so they're going to shoot it regardless if there's a double or triple team. We know some, and it's very capable. But I want the ball in my superstars' hands to make the right play. And that number, if I'm Golden State, I'm gonna shade a little to Tatum to allow Marcus Smart to shoot shots. It's kind of dictated off of defenses. We know going in who we want to take shots. We know who we want to live with in situations, as far as if we're going to lose this game, it's because we said such and such can have a great night. So I think it's just situations where I don't care what the situation is. Let's get the ball into our stars' hands, and then we'll live with the result from there, thinking and hoping he'll make the right play. Sometimes it's going to take a tough shot. He's going to get a great shot for himself, or he's going to get an open shot for someone else. That is important in my mind, is that your superstar is able to create open shots and open looks for other players.
No, you're exactly right, Vince. Some of these stats are a byproduct of the fact that Tatum is going to oftentimes, especially at the end of games, go against a loaded defense, go against a double team. You saw the one clip there where he kicked Al Horford in the corner. He had 3 guys on him. And sometimes out of that, right, it's a swing. All of a sudden, it's late in the shot clock. You don't have time to get the ball back to your star player. And that's where you see Derek White shooting a floater or Marcus Smart shooting that three. Like, that's just a byproduct of putting so much defensive attention on star players.
Okay, I think of this because I'm reminded of LeBron early in his career, when all the argument against him was, you're passing it too much. You're the superstar. You should be taking the shot. But you bring up a great point.